Oh, hi there. I didn't see you walk in. I'm just over here typing a bunch of random nonsense so that I can make it appear as though I'm surprised when actually I've set up all this lights and this camera equipment in order to do a video of the Corsair K100 RGB keyboard. And let's see why this thing cost a whopping $230. Have you checked your watch lately? Because I'm pretty sure it's time for us to open the Corsair K100 RGB keyboard, which if you look it up in the dictionary, it actually says $230 ball-in keyboard. All right, let's see what a $230 keyboard gets you. You get plastic, but look at this. Look at this nice braided cord, foam on the end of it for protection. Got a little wheel on it, another little wheel. Documentation, safety information, so I don't hurt myself on my keyboard. Warranty guide, in case I break it or get dog hair in it again. Stuff. Oh, we got some keys, and then there's this thing which does something. The wrist strap. No, that's not what it's called. The wrist pad. Ooh, squishy. Let's start off with why we're reviewing the Corsair K100 RGB keyboard. Well, honestly, I was just curious, what makes a keyboard worth $230? Is it just the fancy colored lights, or is there more to it? So here's a nicely formatted list of all the reasons that I think Corsair wants to charge you $230. We have the Corsair OPX optical mechanical switches. There's the ridiculously fast Corsair Axon hyperprocessor technology with 4000 Hz hyperpolling and 4000 Hz key scanning. If you can press the buttons that fast, you are the greatest gamer that has ever lived. There are macro controls and buttons that correspond to said macro controls. There's the ICUE control wheel, which is not used for driving. Of course, there's the ICUE software, which helps you use the ICUE control wheel as well as the aforementioned macro keys. There's extremely comfortable wrist support, and well, it has colored lights. I like colored lights. There's colored lights behind me. They're pretty cool. All right, I want to be serious for a second. Let's talk about why you actually want this keyboard. It's really all about the switches. These Corsair OPX optical mechanical switches have a 1mm actuation distance and a 3.2mm total travel distance. Now that is shorter than the ever popular Cherry MX switches. The Cherry MX have a 2mm and 4mm actuation distance and total travel distance. And we're talking about very, very, very tiny measurements here, something that I can assure you I know nothing about. Sometimes those tiny measurements make a big difference. When you're talking about the difference between strafing around an opponent and getting the shot off before they do, that fraction of a second can be the difference between winning and losing. Now for most gamers, it's probably not gonna make that big of a difference, but if you're playing at a high level, it will matter. Now another thing about these switches that's really cool is they only require 45 grams of weight in order to be activated. Now it's hard to put into perspective what 45 grams is. So allow me to show you. 45 grams, pure, white, uncut, Colombian, granulated sugar. This is about how much pressure it takes to push the keys. So another thing that makes the K100 really good, and this is not exclusive to the K100 by any means, is macro controls. You can do all kinds of stuff that will speed up your workflows or your play flows, depending on what you want to do. It kind of got me thinking, it's too bad Life doesn't have macro controls. But seriously, take a look at some of the stuff you can do with the macro controls and see how much it can speed up your workflow. So let's say you want to use this for gaming. You can string together multiple keystrokes and program it into one of the G keys on the side of the keyboard. Now you only need to hit one button and the keyboard will sequentially execute the other buttons that you have inputted into the macro. So let's say you're playing World of Warcraft, for example, and you have your specific rotation of spells that you need to cast in order to optimize your DPS. You can program that button combination into the macro keys, hit the single button, and it will do all the spells for you. Again, this is not something that's new to the K100. Lots of Corsair and other company keyboards have macro keys and macro controls. But the Corsair K100 does a good job of making it easy to put them together and make them, which is great. Even if you don't have any type of programming skills or knowledge, you can easily figure out that I want this button, this button, this button to go, and I want to pause here, and I want it to then do this, and it will do that for you. And it is super easy. Even a dummy can figure it out. because I figured it out. Now something that is new to the K100 is the ICUE control wheel. It's a little wheel that sits at the top of the keyboard. You can hit the little button in the middle, which will change the functionality of the wheel. So for example, if you want to set it to zoom, you hit the button until it turns to the color that you have set zoom to. Turn the wheel, zoom in, turn the other way, zoom out. You can use it to jog tracks. You can use it for macros. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. Now I tried to come up with a funny joke about the wheel to insert here, but I drew a blank. The fact of the matter is it's a really cool wheel that's really useful, and it's one of the things that makes the K100 stand out from the previous models like the K95. If you are a video editor or someone who uses Photoshop a lot, the ability to use the wheel to zoom in on something really quickly or to slightly jog ahead your track while you're editing video is super convenient, and it's something that I'm going to take advantage of a lot and that will hopefully save me some time in my workflow. Now, as mentioned, there's the ICUE software, which is where you will set all of this up. Now you could do quite a bit with the ICUE software. Again, you can use it to make your macros. You can use it to work with the control wheel. You can use it to set up crazy light combinations, or you can simply download other people's light combinations, because I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a lot of work to make some of the ones that people have come up with. I mean, there is some crazy stuff out there. There's even third-party programs that you can install that will allow your keyboard to sync up to the music playing on your computer. Personally, I like to use it to play my favorite song. I did set up a custom one for Dota 2, which I actually light up all of the different keys that I regularly use in Dota. So for example, Q, W, E, R, T, and spacebar are 6 keys that I use all the time in Dota. It's just a cool little thing I set up, and you can easily switch that and light up the WASD keys if you play shooters, or any other keys for whatever games you play. If you're playing World of Warcraft, you can light up your main rotation spells. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the flexibility offered by the RGB lights. Not only are there RGB lights on the keyboard, but Corsair actually put lights around the outside of the keyboard that illuminate your desk along with the flow of whatever lights you're doing. And let's be real, they're RGB lights. Gamers love RGB lights. Do they make us better at games? Science is still out on that one. So now we come to the big question. Is this thing any good? I think I've established that it's pretty damn good. I mean, this keyboard does literally anything you could think of, and it does a lot of stuff that you can't think of. It can read key presses faster than any human can press keys. It can read presses faster than your monitor can display the input from your keyboard presses. It is future-proof. As technology improves and is able to keep up with the keyboard, this keyboard will stay ahead of that. Is that 4,000 millihertz polling rate is insane. So when it really all comes down to it, I give this thing 4.5 clicky keys out of 5. Hey there, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe and all that other fancy nonsense so that we can show you future videos, because we spend a lot of time making these videos and we would appreciate it if you watch them.